morning, Claire.
Are you hearing me now? Yes, hello?
Yes. Hello, Craig.
Okay.
Yes,
Great.
Claire.
Sorry about that. Good. So I will start again. Welcome to CaribNOG 23. Today is the first day of a two-day event. You may see, if zoom out in the room a little bit, while this is a virtual event, there are a few of us who are meeting live in Guadeloupe. And I am very pleased to announce that this is the first time that we are actually having a meeting in two languages. So our meeting today will be both in French and in Spanish. So just housekeeping. Can I have housekeeping slides, please? Great. Next slide. So our theme for today is building resilient networks. And first, I would like to bring your attention to the interpretation. At the bottom of your screen, you would see a button that looks like a globe that says interpretation. So translation is available in French. In French, please click the French button, and those in English, please click the English button so that you can hear your language of choice when the speakers are presenting. Next slide. You will also note that in the chat button, we will use the chat for general conversations, helpful comments and ideas. But you will also see that there is a Q&A button, which we ask that you would use for all questions that you would like to pose to the panelists or the presenters. Please note, please write your questions during the session. You don't have to wait until you are told to ask questions. So as you think about the questions, please be to write them in the Q&A. Also, you will note that the sections, we will all your turn to speak. Please remember when you are finished. Next slide, please. We would like to remind you why CaribNOG is very informal. We ask that you follow the standard CaribNOG and remain on topic. Next slide. Which is very important. Please remember when you're making your comments to include your name and affiliation before every comment. Particularly, this is extremely important because we have interpretation for this session. and the interpreters need to be able to acknowledge who is speaking at the time, especially if they can't see you. We advise that you turn your camera on when you're making live presentations as well. And our moderator will provide every opportunity for you to be heard. We would also like to thank our sponsors for today's event, who are the ARIN, Architects, Connected Caribbean, the CTU, ICANN, LATNIC, Caribbean Telecommunications Union, Internet Society, the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, and PCU, Packet Clearinghouse. Please we look forward to having a very successful CaribNOG meeting. I turn you over to Mr. Wooding, who will bring opening remarks on behalf of ARIN, Ms. Michelle Garcia on the CTU, and Bevel will also give you an overview of today's agenda. Thank you very much. While we wait for Bevel to join, please, you can continue to advise your friends and networks that CaribNOG is streaming live on Facebook and other social media platforms, and that they can still register to be part of CaribNOG today. Thank you. Bevel?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Just want to invite Michelle, if she's on, to give some welcoming remarks before I get into the agenda. Michelle? Okay. Yes, she's not around. But let me go, and then when she comes back, we can have
Bevel, she's on.
Okay.
A pleasant good morning to all speakers and attendees. I am Michelle Garcia, Marketing and Communications Specialist at the Telecommunications Union for the city. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome you to CaribNOG 23 on behalf of the Caribbean Telecommunications Union and our Secretary General, Mr. Rodney Taylor. The CTU is proud to be the implementing partner of the CaribIX project. This initiative signals a major step forward for the Caribbean internet landscape. Since 2006, the CTU has been building resilient networks by promoting the establishment and operation of Internet Exchange Points, or IXPs, throughout the region. There are now 12 IXPs in the Caribbean and hundreds of others across the world. By setting up new exchange points in Guadeloupe, St. Bartholomew, and St. Martin, the CaribIX project promises to deliver better internet speed, security, and service quality across these three territories. Co-funded by Interreg Caraïbes with 25% in-kind contribution by the CTU, the project will be completed by the end of October 2022. I am sure you will hear a lot more about the project during this morning's proceedings from Yves Ribou of Dolphin Telecom and Mr. Gary Kalu, Director of Business Development of the CTU. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. And welcome again. Good day to everyone. This is CaribNOG 23. My name is Bevel Wooding. I'm the Director for Caribbean Affairs at the American Registry for Internet Numbers, ARIN, and I'm also one of the co-founders of CaribNOG. So it's really good to see you all online. As you may have noticed, we are again staging our meeting virtually. However, it's really nice to see that some of our members are able to gather in small groups to participate in today's activities. I know we have the group in Guadeloupe, and there's some other groups in the Eastern Caribbean that have assembled for this morning's event. Believe it or not, it's been 12 years since the first CaribNOG meeting was held in St. Martin in 2010. And of course, over that time, we've witnessed and participated in several important developments on the technology landscape in the region. We have seen the proliferation of internet exchange points, which continues, and we'll be talking about that in today's meeting. We've seen greater access to broadband and internet services, widespread availability of computer networking, training, and capacity building opportunities. And more recently, we have seen the rise in cloud computing, and of course, a rise in cyber attacks and internet infrastructure outages. These more recent happenings have been part of the regional reckoning brought about by the fact that we are still very much inside of a global pandemic. But through it all, CaribNOG has sought to remain true to its founding mission. A mission, I must say with some delight, that has been established in its roots in the French Caribbean in St. Martin when we began, and that is to network the Caribbean for the greater good. To network the Caribbean for the greater good. That's what CaribNOG is about. And while this has not always been an easy task, it has always been a worthwhile task. As we know, the Caribbean is a very diverse melting pot of cultures, economies, ethnicities, and interests. And each territory has its unique flavor. But we also share common challenges and priorities and aspirations. And that's why this issue of networking the people has always been our top priority. And even as we have switched to the virtual format, we continue to make the networking of our network practitioners and our cybersecurity experts and our technologists one of our top goals inside of CaribNOG, because it is this common ground in not just the technical aspect of things, but the shared belief that this is a worthwhile pursuit to use our talents to help develop our region. This common ground is what makes CaribNOG a truly unique community and forum. And we've seen it evidenced over the past few years. And I just want to highlight some very quickly, some of the things that the CaribNOG community has done to rally around the region, to provide advice, to share best practice, and to support connectivity initiatives inside of the global pandemic. And remember, all of these support actions are being done by what essentially is a volunteer-based community. And in volunteering to support network development and volunteering to support connectivity and access, the CaribNOG community is truly showing its worth as a solutions-oriented forum. Today, we convene under the theme of building resilient networks. And we'll be hearing from Team CaribIX, who you saw on your screen earlier, on the exciting new developments taking place in the French Caribbean to deploy internet exchange points and to accelerate the development of the internet economy in that sub-region. We'll be also hearing from one of our CaribNOG stalwarts, Mr. Shernan Osepa of the Internet Society, on the MIRA project. That's a joint initiative between the African Network Information Center, AFRINIC, and the Internet Society, ISOC. Now, this project has particular relevance to the Caribbean, and that's why we felt it important to raise awareness of what's taking place over in the Africa region. The project seeks to determine levels of internet resilience in African countries by recording specific metrics, including throughput and latency, using measurements gathered by devices called MIRA pods. Now, we have had over the years several discussions about increasing our capacity to measure the resilience and the strength and health of networks in the Caribbean. And we believe that this project provides a model that we can apply directly to our own goals and objectives here in the Caribbean. So we'll be hearing from Shernan on that MIRA project. And then this morning, you'll also have the opportunity to hear from Brad Gorman, the Senior Product Owner of Routing Security at the American Registry for Internet Numbers, ARIN. Brad is our community resource for public key infrastructure, or RPKI. And he will be sharing on routing security issues that impact not just the ARIN region, but the wider internet ecosystem. That's our agenda for this first part of our our CaribNOG 23 meeting. And we'll be doing a second day and some smaller workshops as we go deeper into the year. But as we look at the path from where we began to where we are today, we can see without a doubt the importance throughout it all of the perseverance of the community and the collaboration that has taken place within the community. As always, for CaribNOG 23, as in other CaribNOG meetings, network operators, computer technologists are able to put aside competitive commercial rivalries to work together to confront both the opportunities and the challenges of network development in the region. And so I'd like to take this time to thank our partners and supporters, including the CTU, the Caribbean Telecommunications Union, ARIN, the American Registry for Internet Numbers, LACNIC, the Internet Registry for Latin America and the Caribbean, ISOC, the Internet Society, ICANN, the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, Packet Clearinghouse, the North American Network Operators Group, NANOG, the Belize Public Utilities Commission that has always been a real supporter for CaribNOG, architects based in Miami with operations in Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago, and of course the hardworking team at Connected Caribbean that has provided such excellent support for our meetings over the years. From the first meeting to present, these partners have, and these partnerships have stood the test of time. They've proven to be very resilient and they've provided tremendous benefit to the technical community. And I want to say a very sincere thank you to our partners. As we dive into today's virtual sessions, I also want you to know that we hope to soon resume in-person meetings. So if you would like your territory to be considered for the upcoming CaribNOG workshops and events, please, I invite you to write to events@caribnog.org. We have several topics that we want to be looking at in the coming months, including a deeper dive into network security, certification training in cyber forensics, and we also, of course, want to continue our work to help build out internet exchange points throughout the region. So you have a very, very interesting agenda ahead. Let's get ready for CaribNOG 23, building resilient networks. And of course, let's continue to network for the greater good. At this time, I'll hand you over to Claire, who will direct us to our opening speaker and our day's proceedings. Thank you again, everyone from ARIN, from Team CaribNOG. Looking forward to a wonderful, wonderful session today.
Thank you, Bevel. I would like to introduce, without further ado, I would like to introduce Eve. Sorry, I seem to have been muted. What's her last name? I'd like to introduce Eve Rabu from Dauphin Delegum to bring opening remarks about the CaribIX project. Thanks, Eve.
Bonjour à tous, donc je suis Eve Ribou, je suis la directrice générale de Dauphin Télécom, un ISP qui est à Saint-Martin, à Saint-Barth, en Guadeloupe, en Martinique et en Guyane. Alors CaribIX, à quel moment on a commencé? On a commencé en 2013 à se poser la question effectivement de cette infrastructure sur nos territoires. Rapidement, on a été accompagné par les équipes donc de la CTU et donc de l'équipe de CaribNOG. Donc je suis très contente d'être aujourd'hui en fait sur ce CaribNOG. Et je vous remercie pour cet accompagnement donc, depuis 2013. Donc, on est en train de parler de 10 ans. Donc, ça fait vraiment un long travail avec une réflexion qui a finalement abouti en 2015 à la rédaction d'un cahier blanc sur le développement des Internet Exchange sur les territoires français de la Caraïbe. Les conclusions de ce livre blanc est que la première étape de la construction donc de ce maillage d'Internet Exchange sur les îles françaises de la Caraïbe était qu'il fallait compléter les X manquants. Effectivement, il existe un X en Martinique depuis plus de 10 ans et un X en Guyane. Donc, en fait, il manquait d'installer les X en Guadeloupe, à Saint-Martin et à Saint-Barthélemy. Comme on était moteur, en fait, depuis le début avec la CTU, avec la région Guadeloupe, avec la collectivité de Saint-Martin et la collectivité de Saint-Barthélemy, nous avons donc monté un projet, en fait, fondé par Interreg. Et en fait, les conventions ont été signées entre 2018 et 2020. Et voilà, nous avons commencé cette année avec le lancement au mois d'avril. Et l'idée est de construire ces Internet Exchange dans les meilleures conditions et avec la participation de tout le monde. Et sachant que cet objectif doit être, notre objectif est de terminer en octobre 2022. Je vais passer donc la parole à Gary Kalou de Caribbean Telecommunication Union, car j'aimerais être très claire que dans la mesure où nous, on a tout à fait intégré la question de neutralité, on a vraiment insisté pour que la Caribbean Telecommunication Union soit en fait l'équipe qui accompagne les collectivités donc, dans cette démarche et dans l'installation en fait de ces outils incontournables d'Internet Exchange sur les 3 territoires.
To all participants, thank you, Eve. My name is Gary. I am the Business Development Director in the CTU and overall coordinator for this IX project that to install IXPs in 3 territories across the French territory of Saint Martin, Saint Bartholomew, and Guadeloupe. So once again, on behalf of the CTU, it's our Secretary General, I'd like to welcome you all to this 23rd edition of CaribNOG, which has been partially hosted in the French territories under the auspices of this project. As Eve mentioned, and she did provide a lot of context to the project, I'd just like to add that CTU has been engaged by Interreg, who is the funding agency for this project, and would like to recognize them for the support in the providing financial for the project. The CTU as well has been, all aspects of the project has been providing and will continue to provide in-kind contribution to the project. All this technical aspect of the project we have been working on our long-standing partner in CaribNOG to provide and work with us in the region to provide technical support. And as we have done in the past and working in various technical projects like this, technical team in CaribNOG to support this venture in the French territories. And it's not surprising because we both the CTU and CaribNOG have common objectives in the region that we would seek to provide and to secure and develop infrastructure, resilient, robust internet infrastructure as part of our mandate, as well as even from the CTU's perspective, we also would like to create a region in the Caribbean, a harmonized approach to building infrastructure, to also harmonizing across the region various infrastructures, and as well as creating an integrated region. So this is part of our overall mandate as the CTU, and by extension, the CaribNOG in this venture. We have started the project, and the project is in its, I believe it's now into our 3rd or 4th month into the project. It's a very accelerated project. We have just about 8 months to do our assessments, to meet with all the various stakeholders to provide capacity building across the region, and also to secure, procure, and implement and commission the IXs in the 3 territories. So it's a very monumental task, I might say, but it's also challenging, and we do look forward to delivering successfully on this engagement. We would like to thank, of course, all the regions, our coordinators and teams across the 3 territories for welcoming us and to providing all the support we need on ground. And of course, we have to recognize our financiers, Interreg, the EU, for their financial support. So on behalf of the CTU again, I wish to thank CaribNOG for participating, for being a collaborative partner in this engagement. Of course, the entire region, French territories, for having confidence in the CTU that we can provide the kind of support that they need to project to a successful conclusion. So thank you all.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Eve, for giving us an overview of this CaribNOG project. We now move on to the next segment of our agenda, and our moderator would be Mr. Jared Best, who would introduce the speakers. Before I turn it over to Jared, I would just like to say thanks to our partners from the different territories who have agreed to be panelists on this CaribNOG session today. And also, again, to say thank you to the CTU for providing the interpretation for these sessions, which will allow them to speak in French and for us to be able to follow them. So I now turn you over to Jared Best.
All right, thank you, Claire. It's my pleasure to introduce our 3 panelists this morning. From the verdant volcanic hills of Guadeloupe, we have with us this morning Mrs. Aurélie Bitufila-Yer, the Regional Councillor and President of the ICT Commission in Guadeloupe. I'll introduce. From the Cerulean Atlantic waters of St. Bartholomew, we have Pascal Pouchot, Deputy Director, Technical Services, Innovation, Energy, from the collectivity of St. Bartholomew.
Good morning, everyone.
And from the French side of St. Martin, we have Gilles Gomes, General Manager of SAS Intamar.
Hello, everyone.
Let me allow each in turn to make their remarks, then we open for a general discussion.
Alors, mesdames et messieurs, bonjour. Concernant les enjeux du développement du numérique, la collectivité régionale est engagée dans l'objectif de doter le territoire d'infrastructures structurantes et d'accompagner le développement d'une économie numérique. Alors, cet engagement a débuté par la pose de câbles sous-marins de télécommunications pour désenclaver l'ensemble des îles de Guadeloupe. Donc, ce projet de raccordement au réseau mondial a eu un impact sur le marché de la Caraïbe et a permis de réduire les coûts d'accès au transit. Fort de cette réussite, la collectivité a poursuivi ses efforts en déployant un réseau de fibre optique sur toutes les zones blanches. Alors, les récents événements dus à la crise sanitaire ont démontré toute l'importance du numérique pour conserver et soutenir un territoire sur le plan économique et social. C'est donc tout naturellement que la collectivité s'est portée candidate en tant que chef de file sur le territoire de la Guadeloupe dans le projet CaribX, dont l'objectif est d'améliorer les échanges, les flux de données entre les opérateurs de manière à fournir des services de qualité aux usagers. Comme on l'a déjà dit avant moi, on sera accompagné d'experts ARIN internationaux, la CTU, on remercie, qui nous permettra d'assurer des bonnes pratiques en termes de gouvernance, de mise en œuvre, de techniques, d'exploitation administrative, juridique et commerciale. À notre niveau, WADIX a les objectifs suivants. Établir un XP qui maintiendra le trafic Internet domestique en Guadeloupe. Deuxième objectif, développer la capacité des ressources techniques locales à soutenir les opérations et la maintenance continue de l'XP. Ensuite, attirer, former et intégrer d'autres opérateurs et fournisseurs de contenu au point d'échange et favoriser le développement d'une industrie du contenu local. Donc, le projet WADIX sera abordé en 2 phases. Donc, la toute première phase, entre mars et juillet 2022, qui comprendra la planification, l'évaluation de l'XP, l'achat, l'installation d'équipements, la connexion des opérateurs, le renforcement des capacités techniques et la définition de la structure de la gouvernance de l'XP. Ensuite, on aura la deuxième phase, donc entre août et septembre 2022, qui comprendra l'évaluation du contenu local, l'élaboration de stratégies. D'accord. L'élaboration de stratégies, la connexion des fournisseurs de contenu, la campagne de sensibilisation du public, l'élaboration du cadre stratégique, XP et la mise en service finale. Donc, les principales activités et les principaux livrables de ce projet sont les suivants. Donc, on a l'atelier de sensibilisation à l'intention des principales parties prenantes afin d'encourager l'adhésion, le soutien et la coopération. Ensuite, on a le renforcement des capacités et la formation sur l'évolution des points d'échange, leurs caractéristiques, leurs services et leur rôle dans le développement national. Ensuite, on a la formation sur le développement d'une industrie de création de contenu, le développement de mécanismes de gouvernance pour les points d'échange, la mobilisation des intervenants, la mise en œuvre de l'infrastructure XP et jeter les bases d'une industrie du contenu local. Donc, voilà ce que nous avons pour but de faire dans le projet WADIX. Je vous remercie de nous avoir écoutés.
Thank you, Mrs. Bitufila Yerb. Next, I will invite Pascal Peuchot. Again, I will just a bit of housekeeping, Pascal. If you speak at a relatively moderate pace so that the interpreters are able to keep pace with you.
Ok, Gérard. Hello everyone, bonjour à tous, mesdames et messieurs. C'est un honneur pour la collectivité de Saint-Barthélemy d'être présent parmi vous. C'est la première fois que Saint-Barthélemy, que le territoire de Saint-Barthélemy participe à cette réunion de tous les acteurs de l'Internet et des télécommunications dans la Grande Caraïbe. J'aurai le plaisir de vous présenter dans un premier temps l'île de Saint-Barthélemy, ses particularités en matière de marché des télécoms, et je terminerai par vous en dire un petit peu plus sur le projet CaribX qui revêt une importance pour le territoire, pour ses acteurs et pour le gouvernement local. Je commence par une petite présentation de l'île de Saint-Barthélemy pour ceux qui ne connaissent pas cette petite île du nord des Petites Antilles qui ne mesure que 21 km² et qui comprend environ 10 000 habitants. Elle est située à côté de l'île de Saint-Martin. Elle bénéficie d'un statut d'autonomie assez fort vis-à-vis de la France et de l'Union européenne de par son statut de pays et territoire d'outre-mer, Overseas Countries and Territory. Toutefois, en matière de télécommunications, c'est le droit français qui s'applique et c'est bien le régulateur français, l'ARCEP, qui a compétence sur le territoire de Saint-Barthélemy. Je voudrais revenir également sur le positionnement de la collectivité sur le secteur des télécommunications. La collectivité a fait le choix d'être un opérateur d'infrastructure sur le territoire, c'est-à-dire que la collectivité déploie des réseaux de fibre optique qui sont des réseaux publics, c'est-à-dire qui appartiennent à la collectivité. C'est également le cas pour tous les locaux techniques, les locaux d'atterrissement des câbles sous-marins et les locaux à partir desquels les réseaux de fibre optique partent et sont exploités. Les fournisseurs d'accès à Internet sont donc des clients pour la collectivité et ils utilisent le réseau soit pour leurs propres besoins ou pour répondre aux besoins de leurs clients, qu'ils soient particuliers ou professionnels. Pour leurs propres besoins, c'est l'interconnexion de points de présence, l'interconnexion de locaux techniques ou le raccordement d'antennes de téléphonie mobile. Ce positionnement uniquement sur le segment des infrastructures permet de dynamiser la concurrence sur le segment des services. Ainsi, depuis la mise en service du premier réseau Fiber to the Office en 2015, alors qu'au départ, il n'y avait que 2 opérateurs sur le réseau cuivre historique, ce sont aujourd'hui plus de 5 opérateurs 5 fournisseurs d'accès Internet qui proposent des offres à destination des entreprises et près de 10 opérateurs qui utilisent le réseau, et y compris évidemment la collectivité pour ses propres besoins d'interconnexion de bâtiments. Un second réseau qui est en cours de déploiement, c'est le réseau FTTH, Fiber to the Home, qui lui est ouvert à la commercialisation depuis 1 an et demi et compte aujourd'hui 5 opérateurs, 5 fournisseurs d'accès à Internet qui ont déjà signé avec la collectivité pour pouvoir opérer sur le réseau. Même si aujourd'hui, il n'y a que 2 opérateurs qui concrètement fournissent des offres soit au grand public, soit aux entreprises du territoire. D'ici 2024, le territoire sera couvert 100% en FTTH et le bouclage optique de tous les points de présence d'opérateurs et de tous les locaux techniques sera terminé. Ce positionnement particulier de la collectivité permet aux petits acteurs locaux d'accéder au réseau dans des conditions neutres et non discriminatoires et de pouvoir développer leur activité au même titre que les grands opérateurs qui sont déjà présents sur le marché. On a l'exemple d'un opérateur qui s'est créé sur l'île ou d'une SS2I, une entreprise d'informatique, on va dire, qui est devenue aussi opérateur et qui loue des fibres à la collectivité pour apporter des services particuliers à leurs clients, qui ne sont pas forcément des services d'accès à Internet d'ailleurs. Comme l'a rappelé la région Guadeloupe, on a aussi donc des câbles sous-marins et on bénéficie de 2 câbles sous-marins qui arrivent à Saint-Barthélemy. Le premier qui a été posé par la région Guadeloupe en 2006 et le second posé par l'administration des Pays-Bas caribéens à la fin de l'année 2013. Et dans ces conditions, aujourd'hui, Saint-Barth, qui était, on va dire, un cul-de-sac numérique, devient aujourd'hui un mini-hub local, puisqu'il y a beaucoup de routes qui transitent via Saint-Barth et donc du trafic Internet qui n'est pas consommé à Saint-Barth, mais qui transite via Saint-Barthélemy pour rejoindre le continent nord-américain. Saint-Barthélemy est une île résiliente par essence, souvent malheureusement impactée par les ouragans. La population locale et le gouvernement local commence à disposer malheureusement d'une solide expérience dans la reconstruction. Et c'est à la suite du passage de l'ouragan Irma en 2017 qu'on s'est rendu compte que les infrastructures publiques et également notre interconnexion au câble sous-marin a permis à la population et au secours de communiquer dès le lendemain du passage de l'ouragan. Et c'est à ce moment-là que on s'est dit, bon, ces infrastructures publiques et neutres, utilisables par tous, sont vraiment un atout pour pouvoir se redresser. Mais c'est aussi un moment où on s'est rendu compte de la dépendance de notre territoire aux télécommunications. Alors du territoire, c'est évidemment des entreprises, mais aussi de la population, hein. Et donc, du coup, des faiblesses qu'on pouvait avoir. Quelques mois après le passage de l'ouragan Irma, on a eu une coupure d'un des deux câbles sous-marins qui a entraîné un blackout sur l'île pendant plusieurs jours. Et donc, c'est là aussi qu'on s'est dit, il nous faut absolument qu'on incite au routage local des télécommunications afin de pouvoir continuer à fonctionner même quand l'île est coupée du monde. Et c'est pour ça que se doter d'un point d'échange Internet, d'un IX, pour le territoire, s'inscrit pleinement dans cette stratégie de résilience et de redondance, même s'il est vrai que ce n'est pas l'IX qui va régler toutes les faiblesses d'un coup de baguette magique. Nous avions évidemment suivi, comme l'a rappelé Ève Ribou, le premier projet Interreg Caribix, et nous avions trouvé dans ce projet un intérêt en cohérence avec la politique locale, mais également en cohérence avec l'architecture de l'Internet caribéen et mondial. La présence du CTU dans le consortium est un avantage pour nous puisque nous bénéficions d'un accompagnement au niveau technique, au niveau de la gouvernance et d'éléments juridiques par une équipe qui est déjà très rodée à la mise en œuvre des IX dans la Caraïbe. Sans revenir sur ce qui a été dit par la région Guadeloupe, puisqu'on avance de manière à peu près similaire avec les mêmes objectifs et les mêmes étapes, hein. Aujourd'hui, on peut dire que les discussions avec les opérateurs de télécom ont déjà été très fructueuses, puisque on peut dire qu'on a déjà 6 fournisseurs d'accès à Internet. La collectivité en plus, qui a aussi un numéro d'AS, ont confirmé leur souhait de se connecter sur l'IX et d'être partie prenante du projet. Donc, dans ces conditions-là et au niveau technique, l'IX devrait voir le jour au plus tard pour le mois de juillet 2022 sur le territoire. Et le déploiement se fera en 2 temps, puisqu'il permettra d'avoir un IX réparti entre 2 locaux techniques, évidemment eux-mêmes interconnectés en fibre optique publique pour permettre les interconnexions. On y voit véritablement un renforcement de la résilience locale, d'avoir deux sites différents. Actuellement, nous travaillons sur la gouvernance de l'IX, puisque on va dire que les questions techniques sont plutôt derrière nous. Quant aux bénéfices de l'IX pour notre territoire et pour les acteurs locaux, j'ai envie de dire que l'avenir nous dira comment les choses évolueront, et nous espérons surtout que tous les acteurs pourront tirer parti de cette nouvelle infrastructure pour l'intérêt de la population et pour favoriser le développement de nouveaux services locaux, comme la région Guadeloupe en a parlé tout à l'heure. Je vous remercie de votre attention et reste à disposition pour toute question.
Thank you, Pascal. Next, I will invite Gilles Gum to make a brief presentation.
Yes, hello, everyone. Je parlerai français, même si j'avais préparé une présentation en anglais. Mais on va faire usage des interprètes, puisque c'est l'innovation du jour. Donc, je parlerai français. Permettez-moi tout d'abord de remercier toutes les personnes qui ont participé aux échanges de la semaine dernière et qui ont contribué à définir les prochaines étapes de mise en œuvre de l'IX de Saint-Martin. L'équipe du CTU, qui a partagé avec nous leur expérience dans la Caraïbe et qui permet ainsi de faire le lien avec les AXP de la Caraïbe dans le cadre du projet CaribIX. Permettez-moi aussi de remercier les opérateurs de télécommunications. Nous savons que l'adhésion de ces parties prenantes est clé dans la réussite de ce projet. Je salue aussi les data centers Computech et GCN en partie française et SMICOM en partie hollandaise qui nous permettent de mieux comprendre la nature des infrastructures existantes pour la mise en œuvre d'un IX à Saint-Martin. S'agissant tout d'abord du diagnostic, nous savons en premier lieu qu'il existe une multitude d'opérateurs de télécommunications sur le territoire de Saint-Martin. Orange, Dauphin Télécom, Canal+, que nous savons intéressés par les discussions en cours, mais aussi THDTel, Coral Télécom, Digicel, MSA et Flow, avec qui nous devrons poursuivre le dialogue dans le bénéfice du plus grand nombre. Toujours s'agissant du diagnostic, nous comprenons qu'un IX à Saint-Martin, pour qu'il ait un bénéfice pour l'ensemble du territoire, devra bénéficier d'une interconnexion avec l'IX de la partie hollandaise, que nous avons eu le plaisir de visiter et que nous souhaitons bientôt imiter. On ne peut pas continuer ce diagnostic en ignorant la présence d'un IX d'initiative privée, en partie française, installé depuis 1 an et demi par la société IDNcom et qui interconnecte 2 opérateurs télécoms, mais qui ne recueille pas l'adhésion des autres opérateurs de télécommunications. Lors de nos discussions avec les parties prenantes, nous avons compris que certains facteurs étaient clés dans l'adhésion au projet que nous portons. En un, la neutralité dans l'exploitation technique et commerciale de l'outil et une gouvernance assurée par un tiers neutre d'initiative publique. La collectivité de Saint-Martin, à travers une concession publique, se positionnera en tant que tiers de confiance avec aussi un objectif d'autonomie territoriale du trafic digital. Un autre facteur clé de réussite sera la facilité d'interconnexion des opérateurs. En effet, la localisation a fait partie de nos échanges importants de la semaine dernière. Le coût, les ressources nécessaires et le temps d'interconnexion devraient être minimales au vu de la deadline de la phase 1 du projet au 31 juillet. Dans le même temps, le data center devrait être en mesure de soutenir la croissance de l'IX à moyen terme, notamment s'agissant des serveurs de cache qu'il pourra accueillir. La résilience du site d'interconnexion, d'un point de vue énergie, aléas climatiques et refroidissement, notamment, font aussi partie des points d'analyse pour le choix du futur site. Un troisième facteur clé est la structure de coût. En investissement, cela devrait être peu significatif. En fonctionnement, nous devrons l'analyser prochainement sur la base des niveaux de service requis et des coûts fixes. Le facteur coût participera évidemment au choix de la localisation de l'IX, mais aussi à l'adhésion des parties prenantes, considérant qu'un coût d'accès bas la facilitera. Nous travaillerons ces prochains jours sur un document d'orientation qui permettra de partager les principes clés évoqués à l'instant. De ce document découlera une convention d'interconnexion précisant les conditions d'accès. Les parties prenantes de l'AEX sont aujourd'hui des opérateurs de télécommunications. Il est requis qu'ils disposent d'un NAES number. Par ailleurs, ils seront invités, si ce n'est pas encore le cas, à s'inscrire dès que possible sur PeeringDB. S'agissant des équipements matériels et des logiciels, nous comprenons que l'investissement reste léger et que l'espace nécessaire est minime, en tout cas dans un premier temps. L'une des parties prenantes d'Offin Télécom s'occupera de l'approvisionnement. Nous notons néanmoins un risque sur le délai d'approvisionnement au vu de la crise mondiale des circuits électroniques. Il sera donc primordial d'obtenir rapidement le coût et le délai d'approvisionnement. En cas de délai trop long, nous analyserons la possibilité de réutiliser des équipements disponibles sur place, le temps d'obtenir le matériel final. Une fois les équipements montés et fonctionnels, il sera demandé aux opérateurs, parties prenantes, d'assurer la connexion physique au switch de l'AEX. La convention de peering ou peering agreement sera ensuite mise en place pour chaque opérateur. À ce stade, nous espérons voir une meilleure efficacité dans le routing de trafic local, en espérant un peering multilatéral au bénéfice du plus grand nombre. La question de l'interconnexion avec les autres AEX de la région, la partie hollandaise, Saint-Barthélemy, Anguille, la Guadeloupe, et finalement de toute la Caraïbe sera l'objectif suivant. Nous espérons aussi voir les discussions s'orienter vers la mise en œuvre des serveurs de cache. Un volume critique de trafic devrait être obtenu afin d'en absorber le coût, mais le bénéfice pour la population, notamment en termes d'amélioration de performance pour accéder à des services communs tels que les réseaux sociaux, les services Google, les services de contenu. Nous espérons qu'il permettra de soutenir les usages, notamment des innovations développées spécifiquement pour le territoire. Et je pense en premier lieu aux solutions d'e-administration. J'en finis là pour ma présentation. Je remercie les membres, l'équipe qui s'est déplacée sur Saint-Martin, toutes les parties prenantes. Je souhaite le succès aux autres territoires et maintenant nous travaillons pour faire en sorte que tout cela devienne réalité. Merci.
Thank you, Gilles.
Merci beaucoup, Gilles. Merci beaucoup, Gilles.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a drill. Each presenter is sharing real perspectives from their real experiences in the Caribbean project, and these are being shared in real time. To my left and to my right, you can see members of the technical team that is literally on the ground here right now with me in Guadeloupe, on the 10th day of a 15-day trip to work through the implementing process with the implementing partners here in Guadeloupe. We just spent time 3 days in St. Martin and 2 days in St. Barthélemy. You are getting actual experiences from the implementing partners on the ground, very much in real time. You heard first from Mrs. Aurélie Betufila, who remained focused on a top-level view of the project, highlighting in her wide-ranging presentation, he highlighted the urgent need.
Qui a mis en relief le besoin urgent
continued digital transformation
pour la transformation digitale.
From Mr. Pascal Peuchot in
Monsieur Pascal Peuchot,
St. Barthélemy.
En Saint-Barthélemy, nous avons
actually,
entendu.
what I'd say about Pascal is that
Ce que je veux dire, Pascal, est que
so relaxed.
Il est tellement relax.
A little bit of a submarine cable.
Qui a
Very understated,
le
almost
câble sous-marin.
might be the last person to speak in the
peut-être
room,
la dernière personne à
but
parler,
working hard to build out the
mais
necessary infrastructure
il travaille de façon
to
très
evolve
assidue
Saint-Barth's
pour construire
into
l'infrastructure nécessaire à
a shining
Saint-Barthélemy,
example of the
pour
potential
développer
of Caribbean
Saint-Barthélemy en tant
digital
qu'exemple
transformation.
brillant de ce que ça peut être
And
la
already we're
transformation
hearing
numérique de la
echoes of
Caraïbe.
that issue
Et
of
on entend déjà les
resilience
échos
in
de
the
cette question de
presentations
résilience
made.
dans les présentations faites.
We're hearing echoes of that issue of resilience,
Nous entendons
with
les
the
échos
recent
de cette question
hurricane
de
being
résilience
almost like a
en
point
ce qui
of
concerne
before and after
le
in the
cyclone
evolutionary journey
dernier
of the
étant
territories
un
in
point
this
de
part of the
référence
Caribbean.
dans
Last
tous
we
les
heard from
territoires dans
Mr.
cette partie de
Gilles
la Caraïbe.
Gum,
Et finalement,
whose
nous avons entendu
presentation
parler de M.
highlighted
Gilles
several
Gum,
keys to
dont la
successful
présentation a mis en
implementation of
relief
the
les
IXP.
clés
And I'm
nécessaires
interested to
pour
return to Gilles with my first question,
la mise en œuvre
because Gilles'
réussie.
presentation
Je
focused
pose la première
on
question
the
à Gilles parce
practical
que
aspects
son intervention a mis
for
l'accent sur les
success,
aspects pratiques
such
de
as cost
succès,
and
tels que le coût,
location,
la
geography.
location, la géographie, la
But I
situation,
would be interested
l'emplacement.
to hear
Mais
from
je serais
Gilles
intéressé à
some of his
entendre de la part de
perspectives
Gilles
on the
certaines de
importance
ses
of the
perspectives
softer aspects
sur
of
l'importance de
IXP
l'aspect,
development,
disons,
factors such as the development of
logiciel, des facteurs
relationship
tels que le développement
among
des
the
rapports
operators who are
parmi les
stakeholders and
opérateurs qui
prospective
sont partie
members of the
prenante et les
IXP.
membres
The need for
possibles
agreement
du
in
point
the building out
IX
of the governance policy
et
and the need
le
for
besoin d'accord
collaboration
pour la
among
collaboration
multi-sector
parmi
stakeholders
les
in the
parties prenantes
IXP
multisectorielles
development process.
dans le
Gilles, I
développement
would
du
invite you to
processus
comment
de
on the
l'IX.
softer aspect of
Gilles, je
IXP
vous invite
development.
à commenter sur les aspects, disons, plus mous, sorteurs du développement du point IX. IX, pardon. Monsieur Gams, à vous la parole.
Jared, I'm sorry, but I couldn't hear the question because I was hearing both French and English, and it is very difficult to. It was very difficult to understand what you were saying.
Il est très difficile d'entendre ce que vous avez dit parce que j'entendais le français et l'anglais simultanément. Alors il faut que les techniciens séparent les deux canaux.
Are you hearing anything? Are you hearing?
Est-ce que vous m'entendez?
So can you repeat the question?
Est-ce que vous pouvez répéter la question, s'il vous plaît?
Sure. I think there's a problem with the translation.
Yeah, trying to get.
Yeah. Okay, no problem.
The question?
Yes, but
La question est,
the question is, Gilles, you presented
Gilles,
on
vous avez fait une
practical
présentation sur
Without translation.
and the softer aspects of the this.
S'il vous plaît.
Let me try this. Gilles, can you hear me now?
Gilles, est-ce que vous m'entendez maintenant?
Yes, I can hear you, but
Still hearing the
I can
French.
hear the interpreter at the same time.
Il dit qu'il entend le français et l'anglais simultanément. Il faut que les techniciens fassent quelque chose pour séparer les deux canaux.
Is this any better? Is this clearer now?
C'est tout à fait clair. J'entends M. Best parfaitement.
All right, I'll repeat the question. Gilles, that's a question for you, and any of the panelists are welcome to join
Et
as
les
well.
autres panélistes peuvent répondre. Les autres membres
I'm still hearing both languages.
J'entends les deux langues toujours.
All right, so we have a technical issue on the call. Both languages are passing through the channel. Both English and French are passing through the channel. All right, so as we wait for the technical team to resolve the audio problems.
It seems as it's fixed.
It is being resolved now. I will continue with the repetition of the question for Gilles. Gilles, the question related to in your presentation, thank you for that very wide-ranging presentation that focused. I'm happy that you chose to focus on the factors for success in the IXP implementation. And you presented a very wide-ranging view because you focused not only on the practical issues such as cost, location, geography, technical issues, but you also mentioned and alluded to some of the softer aspects of IXP implementation and development. I would like to ask you, from your experience right now in the process of the development of the IXP in St. Martin, what's the importance of some of those softer aspects such as relationship among the collaborators, agreement among the participants, and the collaboration among multi-sectoral stakeholders, everyone who has to work together for what Mr. Bevel Wooding in his opening remarks referred to as the greater good.
Merci pour la question. Donc, il s'agit d'évoquer peut-être les facteurs de réussite donc, que j'ai évoqués. Facteurs de réussite, peut-être en discutant d'abord des facteurs, peut-être pas techniques, mais les facteurs de relations à avoir avec les opérateurs et avec les parties prenantes de manière générale pour assurer la réussite du projet. Effectivement, j'ai brossé large et nous, ce qu'on constate et ce qui est revenu fréquemment, c'est la nécessité d'avoir un tiers qui soit neutre, un tiers neutre qui n'appartienne à aucun opérateur et qui soit, même, je l'ai entendu lors des réunions, qui soit provenant d'un pouvoir public. C'est quelque chose qui est revenu, c'est unanime, tous les opérateurs le demandent, ils souhaitent que ça soit une initiative publique. Et dans ces conditions, nous avons remarqué que nous avions l'adhésion, en tout cas pendant les réunions, nous avions l'adhésion de l'ensemble des opérateurs. Et je pense que ce point-là est absolument clé dans la réussite du projet. Ensuite, il y a effectivement la possibilité de dialoguer, de connaître les besoins de chacun des opérateurs. Donc, d'être là, jouer ce rôle vraiment de tiers de confiance, jouer ce rôle de tiers de confiance, et aussi la participation des parties prenantes dans la mise en place du projet en lui-même. Donc, les intégrer dans le projet et jouer ce rôle de partie prenante. Pour moi, ce sont les deux facteurs clés si on parle de soft skills ou soft factors. Pour moi, ça serait les deux éléments.
Pascal. Thanks. And I'm pretty sure just from the brief remarks that you've made, it has already become evident that the softer aspects be even harder. We are encouraging participants to submit their questions via the Q&A in the chat. Our next question is for Fabrice Morvan. is a member of the Conseil Regional Guadeloupe. He's here in the room. I'd like to ask Fabrice to bring us back down to earth and to share with us what are some of the significant obstacles in the establishment of the IX here in Guadeloupe.
Okay. Okay. Les diff- Yes. OK. Alors, les difficultés aujourd'hui rencontrées sur le projet en Guadeloupe sont des difficultés réglementaires, puisque dans l'achat de matériel et de prestations, la collectivité régionale est soumise à des règles de la commande publique qui entraînent, je dirais aujourd'hui, des délais plus ou moins longs, et ce qui peut engendrer des difficultés complémentaires à la mise en œuvre de l'IXP. Le deuxième point, il est également aussi de pouvoir faire travailler un ensemble d'acteurs qui sont sur un secteur très concurrentiel et qui demandent aujourd'hui une vraie coordination entre les différents acteurs sur le territoire. Donc, c'est pour cela qu'aujourd'hui, je souhaiterais quand même remercier l'équipe qui est venue sur notre territoire, qui a une écoute très attentive de notre problématique, qui aujourd'hui rencontre l'ensemble des acteurs pour pouvoir trouver la meilleure solution pour la réussite de la mise en place de cette IXP. Même si aujourd'hui nous sommes en total accord avec Saint-Martin sur les clés de réussite de la mise en place de l'IXP. Donc, en tout cas, merci encore de la présence de toute l'équipe aujourd'hui de CaribNOG et de la CTU, puisqu'elles sont vraiment une aide précieuse dans la mise en place et l'implémentation de cette IXP en Guadeloupe. Voilà.
Thank you, Fabrice. Thank you, Fabrice. Our last question is returning now to Mr. Peugeot Pascal. You touched on the issue of resilience in your presentation, and you mentioned the recent hurricane being a turning point in the overall infrastructure development at the national level in St. Barthélemy. Many islands were affected by the hurricane. Not all islands chose to develop an IXP. Could you pinpoint for us why that issue of resilience motivated you to make the necessary steps to develop an internet exchange point on the island?
Je te remercie pour cette question, Gérard. En fait, on voit l'IX comme une infrastructure supplémentaire au travail déjà accompli par la collectivité, ne serait-ce que pour faire en sorte que tous les opérateurs puissent utiliser les 2 câbles sous-marins, pour faire en sorte de proposer sur le territoire des routes optiques alternatives qui permettent le bouclage des locaux techniques. Et donc, finalement, on va dire que la dernière pierre à l'édifice qui manquait par rapport à tout ce qu'on avait pu faire, c'est-à-dire tout ce travail sur les infrastructures et sur la résilience des infrastructures locales, eh bien, l'IX, on va dire que c'est aujourd'hui la dernière pierre de l'édifice, puisque ça peut permettre de générer une logique de routage local des télécommunications, non seulement sur l'Internet, mais également peut-être sur la téléphonie fixe et la téléphonie mobile. C'est un mouvement qu'on souhaite, nous, territoire de Saint-Barthélemy, impulser pour faire en sorte d'être complètement en capacité d'agir si jamais on se retrouvait coupé du monde pour une raison ou pour une autre, et malgré tout le travail qui est fait pour essayer de rendre le plus secure possible les infrastructures. Donc Gérard, je pense qu'avoir apporter quelques éléments de réponse à tes questions. Et je voulais aussi signaler que autant les éléments apportés par la région Guadeloupe que ceux soulignés par la collectivité de Saint-Martin, ce sont des constats et des remarques et des problématiques que, évidemment, nous partageons totalement, hein, puisque c'est vrai que le travail de déploiement des IX sur les 3 territoires a forcément d'énormes similarités. On a la chance, on va dire, d'avoir, pour ce qui concerne les grands opérateurs de télécommunications, à peu près tous les mêmes, et après, évidemment, un écosystème local légèrement différent. Mais c'est vrai que pour le succès d'un IX, si on a les grands opérateurs autour de la table, on va dire que, enfin, ceux qui concentrent le plus de trafic, hein, on va dire que c'est une très bonne chose, et c'est une très bonne chose pour tous les territoires. Donc le fait de travailler sur ce projet Caribix, ce projet Interreg Caribix tous ensemble, fait qu'on ira certainement plus loin et plus vite, modulo les petits problèmes d'approvisionnement qui effectivement étaient pour nous le point le plus critique, hein, pour pouvoir être prêt dès le mois de juillet. Mais on a trouvé une solution alternative, puisqu'on n'a pas non plus de miracle sur le marché mondial. Obtenir les équipements rapidement, ça reste très compliqué, et en quelques mois, c'est aujourd'hui quasiment mission impossible.
C'est bon, c'est le temps. Non, c'est bon.
Okay. All right, thank you, Pascal, for saying in your own words, in your own voice, and in your own language.
Est-ce que je peux faire mon interprétation maintenant, ou est-ce que vous entendez toujours l'anglais et le français sur le même canal? Can I interpret now, or are you hearing both French and English still on the same channel?
I'll keep speaking, and we can see whether we still have the same technical problem.
Okay, so I'm going to proceed with the interpretation into French. If there's any cross-channel transmission, you just mute me.
Yes, the technical team will mute you if there's any problem, and also alert me as well if the problem persists.
Ouais, très bien. Okay.
Thanks, Dr. Lillo. All right, Pascal, thank you for saying that in your own words and in your own language. We continue to hear from you. As you said, many of the concerns that are shared by internet development initiatives across the region. As you said, these problems and these challenges, these motivations, these key success factors are not unique to the individual territories. nor are they even unique to the French Caribbean. I want to thank all of our panelists on that note for representing the project so well, making clear for all of our participants here what the true motivation is behind the project, what are some of the critical success factors that we have been trying to guard, and ultimately, what are some of the benefits that we hope to derive ultimately. Thank you to Mr. Pascal Peuchot, thank you to Mr. Gilles Gum, and thank you to Mrs. Aurélie Bitufila-Yep.
Thanks again, Gerard, and all the participants of the French Caribbean region who were able this morning to share with us their experiences on this CaribIX project. We would have liked to take some other questions from the members online, but we have a very tight schedule that we are following at this moment. And so we would have to cut that session at this point in time and move forward with the next presenter. Mr. Shernan Osepa of the Internet Society, who is no stranger to CaribNOG. Shernan has always been very supportive of CaribNOG as one of our strategic partners. ISOC is one of our strategic partners and have always been very willing to present at CaribNOG, and today is no exception. So I welcome Shernan Osepa to make his presentation at this time. Shernan?
Yes, thank you very much, Claire, for your kind introduction. Let me share my presentation. Go to full screen. Okay, can you guys see it? Just give me a thumb up that I know that you can see it. Yes, okay. So yes, my name is Shernan Osepa. I'm the Director for Caribbean Affairs and Development at International.
Shernan Osepa.
Yes. Yes. So first of all, I would like to thank the organizers for inviting us here. It's always a pleasure and honor to give a contribution. And also to our French-speaking friends, bonjour, c'est un plaisir d'être ici. So I would like to focus on a project called the Mirror Project. So I explain a bit later what it's all about, but I would like to give a contribution, introduction today, because next week we are going to do a deep dive on it with my colleague Kevin Chege from Africa, who is coordinating this project in Africa. So what I'm going to do today is to give you an introduction so that you know what we're talking about, and then next week he'll give the deep dive in that regard. So I'm going to focus on a few things as well. So the first one is to focus on Internet Society's project for this year. I'll put the Mirror Project in context, and very important, what's in for the Caribbean. So why does this project matter? Why is it important? And of course, if there are questions, you can ask them as well. If you look at Internet Society, what we have been doing, what we always have been doing, is to focus on three areas. How can we build internet infrastructure? So this project, for example, CaribNOG is an example of those, because internet exchange points are being built. So this is also one of the areas that Internet Society is focusing on. How can we build new infrastructures, internet infrastructures? And we have some other projects focusing on those as well. We are promoting the usage of internet, because it's not just for us to build infrastructure, but we would like for people to use this infrastructure. And of course, we would like people to defend the infrastructures that we're using nowadays. Just imagine what would happen if we no longer have the internet that we're having nowadays. Then globally we have a big problem. So that is why we need to defend the infrastructure, the internet that we're using nowadays. So for this year, we will be focusing on 10 projects, and we did divide them into 2 main groups. 5 projects that we are calling, they are related to how can we ensure that the internet continues to grow. And the other 5 projects we are focusing on not only for the internet to grow, but we are promoting a strong and secure internet. So that's basically what, in a nutshell, what we will be doing and have been doing this year. So I'm just mentioning them because the focus is not on this. I'm just mentioning them in order for us to understand what we are focusing on. So for the stronger internet projects, we are focusing on a project called Internet Way of Networking. This is more to defend the internet. Strange things are happening around the world, and you may hear our voice in order for us to defend the internet. Extending encryption. If we don't use encryption, then we may also have a problem with the internet, or with the trust that we're using the internet. People feel much more secure when encryption is being used. So we have a whole program focusing on that, but again, that's not the theme for today. We also are focusing on the routing security, manners, for example, sharing cutting edge knowledge and DSS. And there is a new topic going on nowadays, exploring digital sovereignty. But again, I'm not going to focus on those today. And we have also some projects focusing more on how can we ensure that the internet continues to grow, a much bigger internet. And here we have community networks. For example, people in a given region, if they don't have access to the internet, they can come together, they can build their own infrastructure in order for them to get access to the internet. And we have a good example going on in St. Vincent and the Grenadines right now with a farmers community where we are helping them to build a community network. The second one, for example, fostering sustainable peering infrastructure. What we're doing today with development of internet exchange point is exactly what we're doing in this regard. So promoting internet exchange points is also what we are doing. We are also focusing on enabling sustainable technical community, of which the NOGs, CaribNOG in this particular case, is also a good example. And then I'll skip measuring because that's the focus. And then we also have a project that we are focusing on, which is called Low Earth Orbit Satellites, LEOs. You may have heard Elon Musk and others talking about Starlink and all these LEOs projects. So we would like to get a better understanding regarding these projects. And measuring the internet is also one of the projects that we are focusing on. And I'll be focusing a bit more on that. So if you look at Internet Society, we do have a so-called Internet Society Pulse program, internal program, at which we are looking at 4 areas. We are looking at internet shutdowns, for example, internet being shut down in countries. So what are the consequences, disadvantages, et cetera, et cetera. We are looking at technologies, centralization, and there is one particular area that we are focusing on today is we are looking at the resilience of the internet infrastructures. And we do have a project ongoing in Africa within Internet Society. We have started in Africa with this project. It's called MIRA. MIRA stands for Measuring Internet Resilience in Africa. And what we are doing, we would like to get a so-called overall resilience index. So we would like to say, okay, in this particular country, the infrastructure scores, for example, 70%. It's a very good infrastructure. The performance, this number of percentage. Security, market readiness, and so on and so on. So we're looking at 4 big areas to get a sense regarding what we call the overall resilience in that particular country. And this is all what this project is about. And we have started in Africa, as I did mention, with a few partners, with AFRINIC, for example. AFRINIC is the Internet Regional Registry for Africa, the same like ARIN is for certain part of the Caribbean and LACNIC is for the other part of the Caribbean. We are working with the University of Cape Town in Kaapstad, in Cape Town, Kaapstad in South Africa. We are working with also Carnegie Mellon University and also similar. So these are the partners that we are working with to get the knowledge, to get data in order for us to get a sense regarding the resilience going on in that particular region, in this case, in Africa. So how, as I did mention, we are focusing on a few areas, and we would like to get a better sense how these how do you call it, how these infrastructures or levels, how they score. So the first one is the infrastructure, and we will be looking at the cable ecosystem. If you look at the internet itself, we have a so-called 3 operational layers of the internet. First of all, you need to have a telecommunication infrastructure, be it wired, wireless, satellite communications. It's not important. You need to have a telecommunication infrastructure in place. Once you have the telecommunication infrastructure in place, then you go to the higher level, to the domain name system level, where you have all the protocols that we're using. And then finally, on the highest level, you have all the applications that we are using. The Google, the Facebook, the Twitter, and so on and so on. These are applications. So we need always to start with the infrastructure. So that is why we are looking at the infrastructure. We're looking at a cable ecosystem. We're looking at, for example, the indicator number of international gateways. And then in this particular case, our source is After Fiber. So we work with them to get a sense regarding the cable ecosystem in Africa. We also look, for example, at the mobile connectivity. And the key indicator here is the network coverage and also the spectrum allocation. And here we use what we call calculated percentage data that we get from GSMA, which is one authority on mobile telecommunications. And the other area that we are looking on is what we call enabling infrastructure. Very important for us. We look here at the number of IXPs, number of data centers in a given country. And then we use for the unit of measurement for IXP per million people, and data center as well, data center per million people. Again, this is Africa, right? In the Caribbean, it's a bit different, but still, these are the unit of measurement that we're using. And our source in that particular case is PCH, PNDB, and also that data center map. One other area that is quite important, very important, that we're looking at is the performance. So we look at the fixed networks and the mobile networks. I'm going to speed up a bit because I don't have much time to explain it, but you see there the indicators that we're using and also the unit of measurements that we're using. For example, for fixed networks, we use median upload speed, megabits per second, and Ookla is one of our source that we're using there. The same thing we are doing for mobile networks as well, where we're looking for the median latency in milliseconds. There is another area that we're looking on is what we call enabling technologies and security. So here you see all the areas that we're looking on. Enabling technologies, very important, the number of IPv6 adoption, the percentage of IPv6 adoption in a given country. And we did use, in this particular case, data from APNIC. For example, for the security threat, the other ones, you can read them there as well. We look at the secure internet servers per 1 million people. And there we use data from the World Bank. Okay. And the other area that we're looking on is what we call local ecosystem and market readiness. This is very important because at the end of the day, we would like to see our regions being developed. And that is why it's very important to look at the market structure and also the traffic localization. For market structure, for example, we look at the affordability percentage in country. There are some economic figures that economists are using, for example, the Herfindahl-Hirschman index, and the source of that particular case is APNIC. For traffic localization, we are looking at peering efficiency, so the percentage of autonomous system numbers. I know that my good friend Bevel Wooding has been talking about autonomous system numbers, promoting in the Caribbean a lot. So we see we're doing the same thing here, or we have done it in Africa to get a sense regarding traffic localization. And there are a few other areas, domain count, e-government development index, and so on, that we're looking on. So again, next week, my colleague Kevin Chege, who is the coordinator for this project, will do the deep dive. But today, what I would like to do is to give you a sense of what this project is all about. And at the end of the day, we will get a so-called overall resilience view. If we look, for example, in this particular case is of Botswana, we can look at the infrastructure. It did score, for example, 46%. Based on all the indicators that I did mention before, the performance was 49%, the security 48%, market readiness 59%, and the overall resilience figure for Botswana is 51%. We see, for example, in Africa, South Africa has the highest overall resilience number, 69%. So this is the way how we have done it to get, let's say, all these overall resilience for all these African countries. So that was Africa. So what's in for the Caribbean? I think we should be very proud in the Caribbean because after Africa, the Caribbean will be the next or the first country where we will be trying to replicate this project. So what our African brothers have done, we're going to do more or less the same thing in the Caribbean. And I'm not sure if our good friend Dr. Kim Malalu is on the call, but we will be partnering with the University of the West Indies because they are our key partner in this regard in order to help us to replicate what our partners have been doing in Africa. And I believe there is an opportunity for collaboration for us, all of us. You see, if you look at the African model, when you look at the partners, we had a significant number of organizations giving a contribution. So we see we had university, we have the regional internet registry, and we may also have others. If you look at the Caribbean, we have an opportunity here as well. And I would like to invite the CaribNOG community, given that we have the technical expertise within this group, we can also let's talk about this, how we can also give a contribution to this project in order for us also to get a resilience index of all our Caribbean countries. So it would be great to see, for example, Trinidad and Tobago did score on infrastructure this number, on readiness this number, and also the others, Jamaica. Right now, we have friends in Guadeloupe. So we would like to get a sense of what is going on in our region. One of the challenges that we are facing is that most of the times when dealing with policymakers and governments, we don't have empirical data. So this is a unique opportunity for us to gather that data in order for our policymakers and governments and others can use this data in order for them to for all of us to enhance what we're doing in the region. And again, next week, my colleague, Kevin Chegame, so he is going to focus on the deep dive, do a deep dive on the project. So he will explain in all details what we have done in Africa and how also we here in the Caribbean can give a contribution. Because at the end of the day, the ultimate goal is we would like to see a more resilient Caribbean. So that's basically what we are looking at. So with that, I would like to thank you, and I'll give the word back to Claire. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shannon. This was a really very interesting project that you're working on. And of course, CaribNOG would definitely want to collaborate with you on this. And I also saw Dr. Kim Malilu indicated that the MOU with the University of the West Indies is being signed today. Because in the Caribbean, as you know, we really do not have the kind of empirical evidence that we need. And a lot of work is taking place here. So thanks for sharing this project with us. And we look forward to working with you. I know there are persons who would have wanted to ask you questions, but I also understand that you have a very tight deadline because you're flying out right now. And we've come right up to the top of your time slot. So we would thank you again for this presentation, and we look forward to your colleague at day 2 of CaribNOG 23, which is next week, Wednesday, who will be back to share information with us. And we really do hope that we get the opportunity to ask him some questions. Okay, so everyone who's on, if you have questions, or even if you don't, think about the questions for next week when a member from the Internet Society will be back to share with us some more about this project. Thanks again, Shannon. And we take a short 10-minute break because our interpreters need to get a little break because they've been going for a little while, and we return at 11:45 promptly to have the session, the ARIN session on an update on routing security with Brad Gorman. So please, let's just take a quick break and return. Thanks very much.
Non, ça y est, c'est bon.
Are you hearing me any better now?
Attends, j'ai mis la bonne. C'est-à-dire que pour bien entendre l'interview, il faudrait que vous activiez votre micro et on coupe ce micro. Ok, je coupe.
Yes, are you hearing me now? Okay, yes, okay, great. Thanks again for returning promptly, everyone. Again, sorry about technology on this end. It was all my doing. Yes, so we move into this segment of CaribNOG, where we would hear from Brad Gorman, who will give us an update on routing security and his presentation. He's a staff member of ARIN, and we look forward to hearing from Brad at this point in time. Brad?
Hello, good day, everyone. Thank you for having me. Yes, my name is Brad Gorman. I'm the product owner for routing security. Basically, what that means is I will come out to the community, listen to you, to the questions, the concerns, the requests from you about features maybe that you would like ARIN to create to assist you. The other part of my role is to bring those requests back inside of ARIN and make sure that we develop the tools and have the resources available that will meet the community's needs. So let me get started. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about things that have happened since the end of the year last year, ARIN's 48 meeting. I'm going to go over the shutdown of our non-auth database, go over and review one of the new products that we have released with our RPKI, go over some of the RPKI statistics, basically representing the growth that we've had within the region, talk about a little bit of the training, and go into some of our future product development. So the IR non-auth shutdown, just a quick review if anyone is not terribly familiar with the IRR. The IRR is the Internet Routing Registry. It is a loose environment that a number of organizations create databases that allow network operators to enter information into these databases, and others can use it to build routing policy for their internet connected devices. Now, the non-auth database contained data that was either old or didn't represent the appropriate owners of the resources or the organizations that had been allocated resources, and whether it was old or just out of date. ARIN wanted to get rid of this non-auth database. So what we did was have a consultation with our community that was in March of 2021, where we explained to the community what we were going to do. Once that was complete, we went through a long process of communication and assisting organizations that had objects inside of the database. The records in the database are called objects. And we used as many avenues of communication that we had available to us, whether it was mailing lists or presentation that I gave at NANOG 83 last fall, social media posts. Basically, we wanted to get the message out that, well, ARIN was going to be turning down this database and everyone needed to be prepared, and that we were there to offer the help. So the turn down date was April the 4th. And at 12 noon, we decided was the time that we were going to make the change. 4 things basically happened. We stopped the near real-time data stream. And that data stream is where network operators can, by the name, pull the information out on an as-needed basis to build route policies. We had the all entry was locked up to that point, so there were going to be no more changes in the database. We had an email template method of entering data that was also tied to this non-auth database that we deprecated and we stopped. And a final snapshot of the database was made available and has been up on the ARIN FTP site for people to go back and reference for information that was there prior to us turning it down. Now, as a result, there had been quite a number of requests for help. It was approximately 120 calls, web tickets, emails, and using the ARIN chat sessions with our help desk for people who had questions about what happened, wanted to understand how it affected them. Most requests came in were as a result of organizations with legacy resources. And legacy resources are ones that were given to organizations prior to the incorporation of ARIN in December of 1997. So some old university allocations, the other companies' allocations that happened before ARIN was in existence. Those are considered legacy resources. And we went through the explanations of how to go through the process of helping people recreate objects that didn't exist anywhere outside of this non-auth database. We made sure that there were multiple opportunities or places where they could take advantage of this, whether it was entering objects into a third-party organization's database. There were people out there, people who called in that didn't realize that they could create their objects into the ARIN authenticated IRR. And by authenticated, it means that ARIN has checked the resources and the organization who is entering in those records, creating those objects, were in fact the ones that were allocated. And we confirmed that this was true, and that's how we authenticate that data. So in the ARIN authenticated database, all of the information that is there can be trusted, that ARIN has confirmed that the information was accurate before it was entered into the database. One other thing you would want to note, the RADB is an organization that runs an IRR database. They're the largest third-party database that is out there, and they do something called mirroring, where they mirror the remaining IRR databases, of which there's about 20. Each RIR has their own. And then there are companies like RADB or other organizations. Some are network providers, some are just companies that decided to run their own databases. So RADB mirrors them and basically kind of takes a picture of the status of those databases. And RADB stopped mirroring ARIN's a week before we did our turn down. So that what we have really taken from this was the number of calls that came in were kind of smoothed out because there were changes that happened a week before we turned down. So that's just a little bit more information that I wanted to give you. So the next thing that I would like to present to you or give you some information on is ARIN has a new product for RPKI services that we offer. Traditionally, there are two or different types of RPKI deployments. Hosted deployment, where someone can register their resources with ARIN, put their information in a database that's maintained by ARIN. ARIN maintains the certificate authority for the encryption of the data that's in the database. And that is typically the first stage or the first place where someone will begin using RPKI, because it is kind of a one-stop. ARIN takes care of everything. There's a second main deployment type. It's called Delegated Rpki. And a Delegated Rpki, an organization has made the decision that they are going to be the certificate authority, the ones to handle the encryption. They are going to maintain their own database of the records in the database, and only use ARIN as the source of truth for the resources that are in their database. The third, and this is what the publication service is, the publication service allows an organization to run their own certificate authority, basically maintain the information that they would like to keep to themselves rather than sharing it with ARIN. Some of this being some of the encryption keys that they use. And it is the choice of that organization to do something like that. But they don't want to run the repository or the database where all the information is contained. So what the publication service allows is they can maintain their own ROAs, they run their own certificate authority, and add their ARIN directly issued information in the repositories. A little bit of history about the product. We started the development back in September of last year, and we ran a beta trial period with a test organization inside of ARIN and an existing ARIN org that wanted to help and assist during the development process. And it was a really big help. We were able to identify some unexpected features. We squashed some bugs. We made sure that it was working, and we were happy with it when we released the product on March the 1st. And using this and any of the ARIN RPKI services is available to all member organizations with resources where you have signed one of our service agreements, an RSA or an LRSA document. I'd like to now show you a little bit information about how RPKI is growing inside of ARIN and in the ARIN region. There are two big numbers that I'm showing you right now. The first one is ROAs, and ROAs are if you're not familiar with it, are the basic building block of RPKI, and it is a route origin authorization is what the acronym means. And what a ROA is it allows you as a resource holder to make a statement that is certified by the RIR, in this case, ARIN, if you have ARIN resources, to say, my resource should be coming from or being originated at a particular ASN. That is the component that is necessary to go further on and make RPKI work. That's how people use RPKI information to validate whether data that they're seeing in their BGP, their internet connected BGP devices is accurate, whether they can trust it. So since January 1st of this year, we've had an increase of rows in the database, almost a 10% growth. But over year, the database has grown by 73%. So that's a good indication that people are taking advantage of the process and putting in and making these statements about their resources. Now, on the other side, there are resource certs. If you can very easily identify resource certs as being organizations who have signed up. And the first step in signing up to use one of ARIN's products is to get a cert that says, here are your resources that are allowed to be used inside of an RPKI in the products. So the 2562 number represents the number of ARIN organizations that have signed up to use one of the RPKI services. So since the beginning of this year, we've seen a 16% growth of orgs signing up for ARIN services. And year over year, there was a 63% growth. So we are having a good period of time, or a good growth over a very short period of time. And over longer periods of time, the community really is embracing and using RPKI, and that's representative of the numbers that are here. So in the world of routing security, we have a number of new products that are coming, that are either under development right now or going to be released hopefully sometime, or they're on the roadmap for this year. One is a two-factor authentication. Now, ARIN has 2FA available right now to anyone who wants to use it, but there has been the uptake has been rather slow, and it hasn't been well received or used. And we are going to be sending out yet another consultation to the community. So if you are not currently registered to receive ARIN email, the email lists and information that we put out, please do join them. And in the consultation, we're going to be asking for further steps on how we will provide you, the community. We want to hear what you would like us to do with regards to two-factor authentication, whether it's enforcing it on everyone, whether it's the method with which that we use to do two-factor authentication. So keep an eye out for that. That should be coming soon. The automatic reroll of objects is something that is going to remove the need of an organization to track the lifespan, or the validity is the proper term in RPKI, maintaining that their resources are functioning the way they should, and that they're alive and in existence. We're going to tie RPKI and RR products together more tightly. They're related with respect to what they do and how they work. So that's one of the steps that we're taking. And we're going to be having a dashboard that will highlight more information specific to your routing security and the resource that you have. One thing that you will see is Monday of this week, we did turn on some more features. And if you log into your dashboard, you will now see information available to you if you have resources that are not covered under or are ineligible to use RPKI. And this information is also available if you look at your IP address resources or your ASN. So log in and take a look at that. We have some training that's either recently been given, about to be given, and things that are moving forward in the future. At the last ARIN meeting 2 weeks ago, we had what we call a row-a-thon, where there were orgs who had made the decision that they wanted to run RPKI and use ARIN's RPKI services, and we assisted them with creating their ROAs, those component parts. That was relatively successful, or was successful for the people that were there, and we're going to continue doing this in the future. We have a more advanced RPKI training that's going to be coming up, going to be given by webinar in the end of May and the beginning of June. So keep an eye out for those classes if you'd like to attend. And then we were going to refresh our initial RPKI course that presentations were given, and webinars are available for download at the link. You can have access to the existing webinars that we have, and some how-to videos help people understand things in the way they work at ARIN. And really, I'd like to end and just say, hey, if you have questions, ask them. That's why I'm here. That's why there's a team here now, keeping track of your requests that come in, and your concerns and your questions. And we can't do anything if you don't ask us. So you can see my email address. There's an email address of our team. There, you can always ask the help desk, but we also have a suggestions input take on the ARIN website. The long link, I'm not going to read it, but you can put forth your suggestions of things that you want, something, and whether it's new, something, a feature that needs to be enhanced to make your experience better and the whole community. So please take advantage of using those and make yourself heard. We can't do what you'd like us to do if you don't ask us. And then there's also a new status page that you can reach from the bottom of every page on the ARIN website. Or you can go to this link at arinstatuspage.io, and it'll give you information like, is the is ARIN's phone system working? Will you be able to get to the help desk? Or is there a particular process or service that's under maintenance? So that you can get an understanding of, hey, if this isn't working, why? You can go here and take a look at that. That's it. I know I kind of ran through it really quickly. If you have any questions, please ask them now, or if in the future they pop in, please send an email to either myself or the group, and we will address them for you and answer them.
Thank you very much, Brad. That was such an interesting presentation concerning the RPKI and the resources that are available to all of us from ARIN. Many of the participants here today are all ARIN members, and I am sure will be able to partake of some of this, especially at this time where we are all concerned about the security on our networks. So thanks so much for that. And I hope that the Caribbean region will be part of that growing number of members who are applying for those resources. The statistics are looking good, and we are going to encourage the members to continue to reach out to ARIN for any information that they need on securing their networks.
Yes, and
So,
ARIN, we want to work with the CaribNOG organization and the community in the Caribbean. We're working to have live sessions with you, maybe at another meeting, or schedule ones specifically for the Caribbean community to get more information out there. Our RPKI sounds scary. It's not a boogeyman. It's actually very easy to use. And to get started with it is very simple. So we'll look forward to doing that in the future.
thank you so much, Brad. And as we all our presentations, persons who made PowerPoint presentations will be available on the CaribNOG website. But you would have also seen that if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Brad, and his email is Brad Gorman. I just saw it here and it disappeared. routing.security@arin.net. So
Right.
please send your request to that email, routing.security@arin.net, and you will get responses to any questions that you have. So thank you very much, Brad. It looks as if our technical community today is quite shy. No one is asking any questions. But okay, there's another comment. CaribNOG will be working with ARIN to stage in-country workshops on routing security on request. So here it is, everyone, especially our new participants today from the French-speaking Caribbean. Remember, you're part of ARIN, and if you need, when ARIN will be willing to come and work with you individually to get this done. So thanks, Brad. At this point, I would like to say thank you to everyone who has been on. But first, before I do that, let me celebrate some successes and some of the things that CaribNOG has been doing in the Caribbean. So today we showcase the work that is going on with the CaribIX project, and we are very happy to be working and collaborating with our French-speaking colleagues. It is a little bit of a challenge for us on the language side, but we are working through it as we all have to change and adjust at this time. Another project that we are working on, which we mentioned at the last CaribNOG meeting, was the Caribbean IXP directory and traffic routing project, which is funded by a grant from LATNIC, and it is because, remember, CaribNOG contains members in both ARIN region as well as the LATNIC region. So we were able to secure a grant to do this project, which would provide us with statistics and data about our traffic routing on the IXPs that currently exist in the Caribbean. So at the end of this CaribIX project, we are looking forward to having our French Caribbean members' data on that project together with the information about the other IXPs in the Caribbean. On another note, while we celebrate the CaribIX project, we are also working with our community in St. Kitts, who are in the process of implementing an IXP as we speak. Stephen Lee, you haven't seen him today, who is one of the co-founders of CaribNOG, is currently working with our members in St. Kitts. He's on training with them. So that too, we're hoping to have that IXP up and running. We are looking at the middle of the year, by the end of July, early August for that as well. So those are some of the gases.
Call in this room? Anyone is on the Zoom call right now? Est-ce que vous êtes sur le Zoom? Claire, you can join from another device.
Can you turn it around or something?
Yeah, we're hearing you now. You can proceed.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, we are. Please proceed.
The audio is yes. Okay, great. Thank you. Sorry about that. Yes, so we also like to thank our panelists, Gil Madame Butterfila, and Pascal for their presentations on the work that is currently taking place in the French Caribbean islands of Saint Martin, Saint Bartholomew, and Guadeloupe. These presentations, I hope that they help other Caribbean islands to recognize the importance of internet, securing your networks and the need for internet exchange points. We would like to thank Shernan Osepa for his presentation on the Mirror project, and we look forward, as usual, to working with Shernan on that project. And finally, thank you to Brad Gorman of ARIN for his presentation. I would like to take this opportunity to remind you of, today is just part 1 of CaribNOG 23. Part 2 will be held next Wednesday, the 18th of May, at the same time. We would not be in Guadeloupe, but it will continue to be a virtual meeting. And as Bevel said earlier, we are also hoping to resume our live meetings soon. So at this time, let me thank our strategic partners, supporters, and all of you for participating, because what we say in CaribNOG, once a CaribNOGger, always CaribNOGger. So we look forward to having our participants back. We would like to thank the Caribbean Telecommunications Union, the CTU, the American Registry for Internet Numbers, that is ARIN, the Internet Registry for Latin America and the Caribbean, LACNIC, the Internet Society, ISOC, the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, ICANN, Packet Clearinghouse, PCH, the North American Network Operators Group, the Belize Public Utilities Commission, architects, and of course, it will be remiss of me if I don't thank the hardworking team at Connected Caribbean. From the first meeting, as Bevel said, to present, these collaborative partners have stood the test of time and provided tremendous benefit to the technical community in the Caribbean. I also wish to say a special thank you to our interpreters, without whom today we could not have had our French-speaking presenters presenting in a language that they are comfortable with. So thank you all, and we look forward to your joining CaribNOG next Wednesday, the 18th of May, for the second installation of CaribNOG 23. Thanks, have a wonderful day, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye. Hey.
Well done, Claire.
Okay. Thank you.